Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our first rainy review. We're here to look at the Genesis GV70 EV. The long name, or the official name for this car, is the Genesis GV70 Signature Performance. That's right, it's a performance spec. There is only one spec, which is the top spec. So I am absolutely happy that you do get only one version with everything in there. Now, this video is going to be very long, as always, very detailed review. So to the side of me, I'll put all of the chapters and all of the sections in which we will cover off. So please feel free to jump straight through to whatever section you want just by clicking the chapters below. So without further ado, as I said, it's going to be a rainy video, so bear with me. Hopefully the sound has come through okay. And let's get straight into it. The GV70, I don't know if you've all seen many on the road. I personally haven't, but this car was first released in terms of EV form back in 2022. And this refresh actually only came out about, I think, a month or two ago. So not too long. And we've got our hands on it. So I'm really grateful. And thank you, Genesis Australia, for this opportunity. This car here only has about 1,700 kilometers on it. And I don't believe I've seen many, if any, reviews on YouTube. So, you know, this might be the first. So let's talk a little bit about this car. So this, as I said, is top spec. Now, in terms of the color, actually, you know what? I'll turn the camera around just so I can give you a better picture. So in terms of color, in the rain, this car actually looks like it might be matte black. And actually, even when it's a bit dull, it might look like it's matte black. But you know what? This is actually matte green. So I'll try hold and I'll try record different angles for the car. But this is matte store green. Now, store is spelled S-T-O-R-R, and it is an option, and we'll go through that in a moment. But as I said, depending on the lighting, you may actually think that this is matte black, but it is matte green. So in terms of pricing, so this car here is basically a lot of money. So entry level, well, there's only one spec, but entry pricing is from about $132,800. I'll put the cost, if I've got that wrong, just up on screen along with the rough drive away cost. But it's from about $132,000, which means drive away is roughly almost $10,000 more, or $11,000 more. Now, the good thing is you've got 8 colors to choose from, or 8 gloss colors to choose from. That's no added cost at all, so you can pretty much choose any of the 8 at that $132,000 retail entry-level price. If you do want matte color paint, it is an extra $2,000 option. So this spec here that you see behind me is drive away about $146,000. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty details, a quick summary of this car. So this is a 4.7 meter car. I'll put the specific dimensions up on screen now. It does actually fall into the mid-size SUV segment, which means there are plenty of competitors. What you do need to remember is Genesis is pitched and posed as a luxury car, and it absolutely is, which is what I'll show you soon. However, in terms of the specific size, it does have a lot of competitors within the market. So we're talking about things like the Xpeng G6, the BYD Sea-Lion 7, Deepal SO7, the Tesla Model Y, Volkswagen ID4, ID5, BMW iX3. You've also got the Mercedes EQE, Audi Q6 e-tron, Polestar 3. The list goes on and on and on. That's just to name a few. However, the ones that I've mentioned towards the end, such as the Polestar 3, the Audi Q6 e-tron, those ones are probably more of the competitor. You've also got the Lexus RZ, which I think there's a new one coming out real soon. And the reason why I say the ones that I've mentioned at the end are more of the competitors is because more of the price point, in terms of luxury and what the car offers, I think that's probably more of the target market. Okay, so your quick summary on specs and details of this car before we go into all the details. So as I said, it's a 4.7 meter car. It's roughly $132,800 plus on-road costs, which means drive away from about $143,000. This spec here, including the matte paint, is $146,000 drive away, or around that figure. It's got an 84 kilowatt hour battery, roughly 462 kilometers in terms of WLTP range. In terms of power, by factory standard, 320 kilowatts, or you do have the boost function, which is enabled for 10 seconds, which pushes it up to 360 kilowatts with 700 Newton meters of torque. And for the car enthusiast, in terms of torque, that is at your, in terms of ICE car equivalent, we're talking V8 twin turbo territory right there, like your Mercedes AMG C63S. All right, enough of that. I've mentioned the competitors, I've mentioned high-level specs, so let's actually have a look at the car. Okay, so starting at the front, you can see a camera right on smack bang in the middle. It's got the signature Genesis grille over here. And believe it or not, right here, we'll see if you can spot it because I'll show you in a moment once we come back around the car. But that's the charge port right there. And so let's start with the front headlights. So headlights, you can see it's double stacked. It is LED, it is matrix lights, so there is a whole lighting sequence that I'll put as an overlay for you to see. But it does look really nice. You'll see down the bottom over here, you'll see parking sensors around the car. Just above the number plate over here, as I said, you've got the camera over there. You've got the charge port over here. We'll open that one in a moment. And let's swing around to the side. And let's look at the wheels. So it is a 20-inch wheel. So in terms of tyre size, you've got over here 265/45 R20. It is a specific design to the EV variant. There is also a petrol variant or ICE variant for the GV70, but it's got a totally different design wheel. And in terms of tyres, they've picked Michelin Pilot Sport EV for the choice. And it is a square set, meaning the front and the back are exactly the same. So let's jump further out. Over here you'll see the side mirror. So you can see, hopefully the camera's focused there. That's a side camera over there. And then you've got the big side mirror over here. And hopefully you can see the sign here. If not, I'll tell you right there. It says auto dim, and then it's got a demister picture as well, or an icon. So that means that these heat up and also defog. Now bring the camera back out. You can see there's privacy glass in the back. More on that when we get to the back section of the car. But definitely no tints on the front, so probably something you may want to look into in the future. Swing further around the back. As I said, the charge port was at the front, so you've got nothing on the back over here. And then you've got also the signature Genesis look at the back. So the double stacked lights. How good does that look? Then in terms of the button to open the boot, you don't have to actually reach further down, funnily enough. And it's actually really good because you've got a button right there. Then you do have your camera though, which is great, down over here. And actually you also have one more camera right there. What else at the back? You've also got your parking sensors down the bottom on the sides of the number plate. And then this is the rest of it. Alright, so let's do our final walk around. I'll cue the music and enjoy the car one more time. Okay, and let's have a look at the charge port. Now, charge port, as I said, is right here. I don't know if you can see that clearly. However, if I push it, you'll notice that it actually doesn't open. So even if I unlock the car. So just know that if you do need to charge a car, you do need to actually open it from within the app or inside the car. There's no buttons on the key fob. So look, I'll unlock it here. Still doesn't work. Thankfully, I have the app over here and I will show you what it looks like. Alright, so it's just opening now. There you go. So this is what it looks like, and in terms of how much it sticks out from the car, that's about it. So remember, the car is about 4.7 meters long, and that's how much you'll need to buffer in. So if you are owning this car and you do need to park at home, you just need to take that into consideration. And so they've got a lock over here, which is actually quite good. It's the first time I've seen that, actually. So you can see there, you can open that, which is for both, and you open top one just for AC charge port. So it's actually quite nice. I'm just not a fan of this electronic bit here, how you can't open it there. And that also looks like the state of charge for the car. So it's actually almost full battery. And you'll also notice a light over here for the charging port, which is fantastic considering people might actually charge in the dark. But there you go. So I might also try and close that there. Nope, that doesn't look like that closes there too. And that's about it for the charge port. And just remember, since it's electronic door, we can't also close it from there, so I'll just be closing it from the app. And there you go. So this is the Genesis key fob. Let's rotate it this way. So what you can see is 3 buttons over here. You've got your hold, your lock, your unlock. Nothing on the back over here. And then on this side, I'll actually flip it around here. So you can see there's hold, then rev forward and rev backwards. So you can actually park this car remotely. It's in the settings in the car to turn it on, and then you can walk away with your key fob and then it'll do that. Otherwise, you can also move the car forward and backwards as well. But that is the key fob. Okay, so let's have a look at the boot. So there's a couple of ways you can open the boot. There is a button right there next to the windscreen wiper or the rear windscreen wiper. You can open it by the key fob, or it's got proximity sensor as well. So if I actually walk up to it, it should beep about 4 times and then it should open. So that's 2, 3, 4. There you go. Now, in terms of capacity, I'll put all the details up on screen for you, but this is basically what we are working with. So let's pan from left to right. So on the left over here, you can see a manual latch release. Then I'll pan through to the right, and you've also got a right latch release over here. Then down the bottom over here, you've got a 12 volt 180 watt cigarette lighter port. You've also got your V2L internal socket over here as well, which is really, really handy. And then you've got tie points or tie down points, tie hooks, all 4 around the car. Then in terms of recline and how much space you have for the boot, I'll just adjust the camera down a little bit. The left side is actually the most forward you can put it, and then the right side is reclined as far back as you can. So that's the level of adjustment that you have. And then in terms of under tray storage, believe it or not, there's not too much in this case because it's got its own storage for the parcel shelf tray. How good's that? So you can take it out, you can mount it on that square over there, and then on that square over here, and then if it's not in use or you need to take bigger things, then you just throw it straight down here. So really good for storage. Other than that, I'll lift this up a little bit. You can see there's additional storage over there. So V2L port, V2L external port, you've got a luggage net, you can put tire mobility kit, you can put any other cables, whatever you want over here. It's not massive storage down below though, because it's got its own set of accessories to put in there. So that's why we've got the AC charging cable here in the boot. But yeah, that's basically the boot. If you got any questions, make sure you drop it in the comment box below. Now let's have a look at the frunk. So let's open the car. It's actually down the bottom here like a traditional car. So right there, pull it once, and then let's go through to the front. So you'll see the bonnet's already popped over here. And let's lift it up. Oh, no, we need the latch. So there's a button underneath here. It's quite heavy. That's basically everything you can see. And that is your storage. So it's, I guess, got a couple of trays for better use of words. It does have non-slip mats. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sections. I don't think you can fit a, not even a 5 meter cable for sure. You could probably put the V2L adapter in here for sure, but I don't think there's too much you could put here. It's good that they do have lighting though, because if you are opening this at night, at least you can see whatever it is that you need, but doesn't look like you can put much more than a couple of smaller items over here. Either way, good to know that you still do have storage, and I guess if you're going camping or anything, it's just additional storage for you. And I'll pan the camera back out. That's basically your frunk. Alright, let's have a look at the inside. So, as always, starting with the door. So you can see it is a full frame door, it's not frameless. And this actually has a different color interior. So this is the brown interior with also the gray seats. It may look like a off-white or a darker white, but it is definitely a gray color. So you'll see a couple of speakers over here. You'll see a bottle holder down over here with some extra space. This here looks very nice at night. I don't know what you call this, but there's actually LED lights inside and it looks like it's galaxy lights. I'll put a video overlay to show you. Otherwise, up here, you'll see Bang & Olufsen name over here, or the branding. You've got your usual door settings. You've got 2 levels or 2 different seat settings, folding mirrors down over here, and then your usual other settings to open the window. And then before we quickly get in the car, this is what the seats look like. Yes, they are cooling. Yes, they are heating. And you know what else? That's right, they are also massaging. So this function here is for lumbar support. And then you've also got this little knob over here, which actually opens and closes the 2 bolsters. So that's something that's really cool that I've seen in some other Genesis vehicles as well. And I really like it. And then in terms of the other buttons, you've got your usual adjustments for the seat, back, forward, up, down. Massage seats over here, more on that later. And then you've also got this here, which is to roll this section out forwards and backwards. So I'll show you right now. So for people with longer legs, you can still have that push out so that it supports underneath your knees. And then of course the brake pedals are set up to look like, and also the accelerator pedal, set up to look like the Genesis signature grille. Alright, enough of that, let's get in and I'll show you around. Alright, I'm in the car, I'm about to close the door, but I just wanted to show you what you see when you're inside the car. So, as I said earlier on, you can see this car has 1,548 kilometers. So that's what you see as soon as you get in. Let me close the door. And my seat's automatically adjusted. I won't turn on the car yet, I just want to show you around and then we'll turn the car on. Okay, I've just put the wide angle lens attachment on. So starting from the right. So I've covered that section off already. Over here you can see a brightness for the instrument cluster, open the charge port at the front, open the boot, traction control, hill descent, handbrake, that's your fuse box. Over here is where your lighting side of things are and also the indicator. Then on the left side you've got your windscreen wipers, both front and rear. And this here is the steering wheel. More on all the functions in a moment, but it is very, very nice. It is heated steering wheel as well. Got a heads-up display over there. We'll definitely cover a section on heads-up display. And let me pan around to the left. And this here, by the way, is a new 27-inch LED display. And I'll show you up above as well. And then down over here. So that's everything, but I'll take you through in more detail. So let's go. So let's turn on the car. So I guess the main thing to take note of is on this car, you do have a on-off button, which is down over here, right there. The car isn't always on. So actually in the car right now, as I'm recording, the car is off. I'm not in aircon, I'm not in a heated environment or whatnot. You do have to manually turn on. It's not a car that is just always on. And other thing that I forgot to mention is you've also got electronic adjustment here for your steering rack. So either way, let's turn on the car. So I'll step on the brakes and I'll actually hit this button, and actually I'll pan the camera out to show you the startup sequence. So 3, 2, 1. There you go. And I'm also going to show you what you see when you turn it off. So let's just say we've just parked the car. We'll hit off. There you go. Alright, so let's start the car and I'll talk you through. So let's start off with this front section over here. So what do we have? So over the left side, these are all basically all related to cruise control. So that's to start your cruise control. That is favorites. So if I push onto that, you'll see that it goes over here. So that's a custom wheel setting or custom button setting. You also do have a star custom button setting, which is this one over here. Then you can go up, down, and you can also click this one here This up down here is to do with that menu over there changing, so I'll cover that off in a moment. But on the rest of the cruise control side of things, that one there is for how many vehicles you want to keep in front of you, so it's the distance between yours and the next vehicle. This here is for auto steering or lane keeping assist. So this here will mean that the car, if you're on cruise control on a highway, as an example, if it's got a bend to the left, for instance, you know, it'll just follow the lines. And then in terms of the up down, as I mentioned, and the pause and resume, this is all to do with the speed. So if you're going 80 kilometers an hour and you want to flick it to say 83 kilometers an hour, just flick it up a couple of times. And then if you want to pause it, you just click on that and it stops for that time. And then if you are going to resume to the same speed afterwards, you just tick that and then off you go. Let's cover off this one here now while we're at it. So watch what happens when I flick the button. I'll hold the camera here at the menu. So I'm going to flick it down once now. So you'll see that the clock opened up over there, current trip moved over there, and then it's using the front camera to see where you're going. Now, if I am driving on the streets, you will see actually a blue line light up, which shows you exactly which lane you're in, so you can follow the road. So I'm going to push down button again, and again, that's just this one over here. So let's push it now. So then it brings you to here. So then you've got a widget over here, and then you've got these ones here. You can see you press OK to change widget. So let me just show you that while we're at it. So that's this button over here. So let's push that once. And you can see now it says scroll. So it's actually touch sensitive. Just swipe up, down, left, right. So watch when I swipe up. Or swipe down, sorry. So you've got since last reset, after charging, current trip. Then let's swipe to the right. Tire pressure, drive to display. You've got power distribution and tire pressure, and that's it for this one. Then let's swipe to the right. This is turn by turn list, destination info, favorite charging stations, nearby charging stations, and compass. Then swipe again to the right. That's for your media. There's nothing else there. And then that's the weather, forecast, calendar. So what I've shown you is basically a combination of this one and this one over here. Let's continue pulling down though. So this mode here, you'll see that section is actually the same. This section now is more for highway cruise control. So you'll see the lanes light up as you go. And then we'll pull it down. Believe it or not, this is Apple Maps. So it doesn't unfortunately show Google Maps because I've got an iPhone. I'm not too sure on Android, so hopefully someone can confirm that in the future. However, because I've got CarPlay on at the moment, that actually does pull open CarPlay, which is fantastic. And if I pull down again, you'll see that it just brings you the map all along over here. Then pull down again, and then you'll see the camera. So other things, you can also push this down too. So if I push this down, you'll see that it's changed the dash to a different design. So you've got charge, power, and then over this side on the right, you've got the speed. So if I click it again, you'll see that. So lots of options. So if I switch through as an example, just to show you again on the Apple Maps, if I click down on this button over here, it still continues to change. So a whole lot of variations that you can do to whatever you want. And then of course you've got the most important thing, you've got your boost button. So remember, this goes from 320 kilowatts to 360 kilowatts. I forgot the Newton meters in terms of the standard, but you'd get up to 700 Newton meters of torque with this button for 10 seconds. And the really cool thing with this is that you can set it so that based on the modes, when you push that, the lighting goes red and this whole dash changes as well. More on that when we go through all the dash settings. But let's look now over this middle section. So what do we have? So in this middle section, we've basically got volume adjustment and knob right here. So that's actually a physical knob, which is great. You've got all of these touch sensitive buttons all along over here. This section is also touch sensitive for the aircon controls, which is really, really good. And the new thing that they have on this car, which is absolutely amazing, is that, you see that? It's aroma diffuser. Now I haven't looked at specifically where it's covered and how to change it, but apparently you can get 2 capsules. So you can have actually 2 scents and you can set it on level 1, 2 and 3. And my goodness, does it smell good. Then you've got your aircon settings to turn on off, heated steering wheel in 2 settings as well. You can do driver only, you can set it to auto climate control, you can set the different fan speeds. This here is just for the back, and you can turn on the heated seats for the outer seats as well from here. And then front. Now it is also haptic feedback, so when you touch it, it does feel like you're pushing a physical button. And then you've got, of course, cooling and heated seats for both sides as well. And then your demisting functions on the front and the back. Further down over here, this is to turn on and off your parking sensors. This one here activates your 360-degree camera, so I'll turn that on now. So this is basically what you see. So that's the 360 view right there. And this here is behind me. You can also push this button over here, which gives you just that front view and then another view over here. If you tick on that, it does bring you additional views as well. So this is a square view here. This is just the front as a wide angle. Then you've got just on the 2 sides. So this is for your wheels, so you don't gutter rash your wheels on close parking. And this is more of a rounder angle from left to right. You've got the same thing for the back as well. So the square view, the round view, the wheels, and the much further wide one as well. Then you've also got this one over here. So this is the 360 view, I guess, if that's the other thing as well,
or
actually,
3D
is
view.
if you push this here, when you're driving, you'll see over here,
It's quite intuitive.
it says
There
here,
isn't
press the button
too
to
much
display
lag.
camera
There
view,
is just
or
a
press and
tiny
hold to
little bit.
activate park
But
assist
in terms
system.
of the detail and the quality,
So
I think
I'm going to insert the auto
nailed it.
parking function
Very clear. I think it's
into
really
this
good.
video
And then you've
right
got
here,
also
and then we'll
settings
come back
over here
okay.
as well for
So
parking
that was
distance
the
warning,
auto
top view
park
reference lines, rear view reference lines as well.
So that is all this section over here. So let's have a look at the next section. So drive and terrain. So if you push, it just switches in between. So what you see when you push the button is actually it switches here on screen. So terrain mode, which is snow, mud and sand. And you can go drive mode, eco, comfort, sport and MY, which is just your own version. So you can change all of that in the settings. And then in terms of changing each one, it actually just is up, down like that. So you can see the dash changes based on what you've set. So eco, comfort and sport. And in sport there's a setting automatically where it actually compresses the side bolsters as well. So quite comfortable. Then down over here you've got back, home and menu, and then you've got a rotating dial over here. So if I push menu, that brings that menu up on the top right. If I push home, it just brings you to the home screen and then through to this menu. And then back is, I guess, self-explanatory. This scroll wheel you can actually push down as well. And so let me just go back. So I'll hold this back just to show you in full screen. So if I rotate this dial, you can see it goes across. And then you click down and it goes into that menu. And if you don't want it, then you hit back and it takes you back there. Now, what I found to be very good is if you are trying to change music, this scroll wheel works fantastic, because if I am sitting back here, this is at my eye level, this is me reaching all the way across while I'm driving. If you have a look, there's actually a fair gap. I actually have to lean forward to touch. But if I'm sitting here driving, I can actually just scroll wheel, just imagine that's music on the screen, just scroll across to select whatever it is you want. So it's actually very, very handy. Then further down over here, you've got auto hold, and then this is to select whichever drive mode you're in. That's also a fingerprint sensor to set different profiles on there to remember your seat settings. And apparently you can also drive with the car by authenticating yourself without the need for a key. Then further over here, 2 cup holders. You know what? Good job, Genesis, because whilst it doesn't go all the way in, because probably I've got this silicone cover over here, but it fits my big water bottle. How amazing is that? I am over the moon because I think it's just fantastic. I'm just really happy. Other than that, over here you've got wireless charging, so you can see they've also got the I guess the little bump up here for the charging pad, so that means that you can charge bigger phones with bigger camera bumps. UVC, that's something new, so you've got UV lighting. So over here there's a button here which pulls that up, so it's right there.
Then you've got a little tray over here. Let's move that tray out of the way. And you can see, I think that's where all the UV lighting is, down over there. And there's also a little light over here to show you at night. Then when you can turn it on right there, which is that button there. And then that apparently turns it on. You can use that to clean or I guess sterilize whatever it is that you need to. And then of course you've got USB-C port, charging port, and also a 12 volt 180 watt over here as well. Okay, and let's have a look at the glove box. So that's basically what you're working with over here. It's not overly massive. So this is the manual that you get with the car, or all of the relevant books. We'll put that in. Hopefully that gives you the idea of how much goes in there. So you could put those small packet of tissue boxes, or the small tissue boxes. I don't think you could definitely fit a large one in there. No chance. But that's basically what you get. And you do have your manual lock there as well. So no electronic lock there. So up the top over here, you'll see a extra large mirror, which is fantastic. Up the top over here, you've got touch sensitive lights. So touch that, it goes on. Same thing over this side. That's to open and close your sunroof. So I'll close that now just to show you in a moment. That turns on all of the lights. That's for door lights. That's Genesis connected services. Then you've also got, look at this. You've got sunglasses holder right here as well, which is amazing. This is then on my side here. So LED light as well up there, turns on pretty much at about that point there. So you'll see that turn on. And then the test for the roads. How does this perform if you are driving in the sun? Does this extend? Let's take a look. 3, 2, 1. Yes, it does. So there you go. You've got full coverage to the side of your head. Then you've got grab handles. So it is on all 4 sides. Then up the top over here, you have acoustic control. So sort of like how headphones work with the whole noise cancelling thing. This takes into account all of the sound, and it kind of does the reverse so that you've pretty much got an extremely quiet cabin. And then as I was saying earlier on, that is the roof. Very, very big. So you can push it down. If I push it, well, push up, sorry, it just opens like that, just tilts. Then close that, and that just closes the entire thing. And then let me pull it back. That opens the entire thing. Now, I'm only going to open it for a microsecond, and I'm closing it because it's still raining. So you can pause it somewhere about there, a little bit, probably a couple of centimeters further back, as you saw. Other than that, if it goes any further back, it actually does have to open the roof physically. So if you want more lighting in the cabin, that's probably the most that you can do. And then the last thing I want to cover off is this mirror. This is something new. You may have seen in previous videos, but this is actually also a digital display. So if you have a look over there, hopefully you can see that clearly. That's what I'm looking at if I'm driving. So you can see there's rain at the moment and it's not clear. Now I can of course turn on the rear windscreen wiper and wipe it away, but what I want to show you is I guess the benefits of having this digital mirror. So if I actually flick this forward over here, that's the rear. That's actually what's behind me. So that's using the camera at the top that I showed you earlier on the exterior. So you can see even if it's raining, I can still totally see that fine. So if I close out of that, that's what you see. So hold it back, that's exactly what you see. So I can actually wipe if I want. There you go. And again, you know, it still makes that shape there. It only wipes that shape there, and that's basically it. But if I do that, I can still see everything. You do also have settings over here. So if I actually push that here, you can go between brightness, and you can also go by arrow. Now this arrow means this is the lowest setting at the moment. So I can actually point it further up as well. I think in reality though, this lower setting here is actually aligned to what you would actually see in this mode over here, except it's even clearer. So I actually think this one is better. And it's also really good at night, right? Because at night, it's hard to see through this. Whereas at night, you can actually see the person and the car. So that's actually really, really good. And the last function to show you at the start over here is this seat. So you've got adjustments from here. Very convenient. Why would you use this? Well, a couple of things. If your partner's sleeping and you want to make them more comfortable, you could do that. Otherwise, it's easy entry for the back. If, you need more space to store things, or need easy entry exit for people in the rear, you could use all of that as well. Very handy.
All right, let's take a look at the second row. So starting off with the side over here, same with the front. It is not frameless, so it's full framed. Your first thing you'll notice is that you do have blinds over here, which are fantastic. So on top of the privacy glass, you really do block out heaps of light. Then fairly standard, you've got your manual door release over here, lock, unlock over here. You can turn that off through the child lock settings at the front. Use your window up, down, and then, I don't know if you'd call this a bottle holder, but it's not too big. Either way, if bottle goes up that way, you might be okay. And then you've got 2 speakers, one there and one over there. And then in terms of the interior, this is basically everything you see. So over here you've got your seat, which is heated, not cooled, but looking very, very good. And remember, this is the brown interior. You can get them in other colors as well. And then also on the side over here, you do have this latch to pull the seat down as well, and also to recline, but I'll show you that in a moment once I get in. So let's go. All right, so we're inside the car. Now, front seat is set low, so let me actually show you how much spacing we're dealing with. So right now I'm actually touching the bottom of the seat, but you can raise it so that you're not touching at all. But in terms of room, look, I'm quite comfortable. I'm not totally stretched out through to the front, but I am still quite comfortable. So yes, I can feel the seat, but I personally wouldn't be extending my legs any further out in my normal seating anyway. All right, so let's address the first thing, which is how do I feel in terms of spacing, and how do I feel, am I cramped or not? So first of all, I'm not comfortable in this really, really upright seating, but I actually wanted to show you the difference from before based on this seat versus the other seat. So as you can see here, we are fairly forward and this seat over here is fairly back. I am pretty much upright over here, so I'll actually recline back to show you how much this can go back. So there you go. So now I'm actually sort of leaning back like this, and this is a much better position. I probably wouldn't permanently sit like this though. It's a bit too far bent. I'd probably sit somewhere like this. And yes, I am also a little bit over this middle seat over here. But look, in terms of headroom, there's one fist full for me, and there's a fair bit of space or distance on the side over here. So I think it's all okay. As I mentioned before, you've got all grab handles on both sides. You've also got a little LED light over here, which you can push on and off. And then you've got a little hook over here for whatever it is that you need to hang. And you've also got another hook over here. And then also around the sides over here, hopefully you can see that there. That's another acoustic control, little bit over here. And you've also got it on the other side over there as well. Now, let's flip this around and I'll show you what else is here. So you've got a little net over here to store whatever it is you need. You've got air vents also over here, and you can see you've got controls for each and every single bit that you need to for the back as well. And then you've got 2 charge ports down over here as well, in which it looks like you can also cover if you don't need. Now let me flip over here. So on this side, 2 cup holders over here, and you can close that right there, and that's what the middle seat looks like. Otherwise, opening there, it's one setting and one setting only. There isn't 2 different settings to kind of make this further up higher or anything like that. This is all pretty much determined based on how far you recline this seat. Is it a problem? I don't think it's a problem at all, because I think based on the angle anyway, I don't think you'd be spilling coffees anytime soon. And I do like the fact that it actually comes out a fair bit. So my kids, as an example, sitting there, they can actually reach for their bottles here quite easily. So really liking that. There isn't, from what it seems, there isn't a push through. So this bit, once it opens here, there is no other section that opens here to put really long things from the boot all the way out through to the front. And this is actually also one section. It's a 60/40 fold. So if you do need to put long things, realistically, you're going to have to fold that one down to put stuff from the back all the way through to the front over here. All right, so that covers everything to do with the rear or the second row of the car. If you've got any questions, as always, drop it in the comment box below. Otherwise, let's jump over through to the next section. Oh, and I forgot, if you do want extra power instead of those two USB-C ports, there unfortunately is no V2L section over here anywhere. You do, however, though, have access back there. So it's just in there. So realistically, if you had to charge a laptop and that USB-C port wasn't enough, or you need something else, which I can't think of what in particular, but you do need access to that, then you can plug it there. Hopefully it comes out all the way through to here and you can use whatever you need to within the car. Now let's talk about what's new in this GV70. So remember, this car was first released in 2022 and 3 years later there is this new version. So I'm going to rattle off, and I'll actually put the list here to the side of me of everything that's new or updated for this 2025 GV70. So let's go. So first things first is an 84 kilowatt hour battery. You've got a new thing called crosswind stability. More on that in a moment. You've got the Milky Way door trim with ambient lighting around the car. It used to be just driver seat integrated memory seating, but now you also do have passenger seat as well. So they've given love to the passenger basically. Your new instrument cluster, you've got the 27-inch screen that kind of goes all the way across. You've got the UVC sanitizing console. You've got 16-speaker Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. You've got the heads-up display. You've apparently got an in-car cabin camera. HDA2, which is Highway Drive Assist 2. More on that again in a moment. You've got updated, so now it's called FCA2. So there used to be FCA1, I presume, which is Forward Collision Avoidance Assist. Then you've also got another version 2 of Lane Follow Assist, or LFA2, and that's with hands-on detection. You've got updated Genesis connected services. You've got over-the-air updates. You've got the air aroma diffuser. You've got PCA FSR, Parking Collision Avoidance Assist for forward, side, and reverse. You've got intelligent front lighting system, which is the matrix LED lighting. RSPA2, lots of acronyms. Remote Smart Park Assist 2. Then you've got NSCC-C, which is navigate-based smart cruise control. Then you've got Smart Touch front and rear doors, or Smart Touch key, sorry. So that means you can actually use, put your fingerprint there or put your finger there, and then you can actually open the rear doors as well. You've got the MLA, which is Micro Lens Array LED front lighting system with intelligent front lighting system, which is basically matrix LED. And then Dynamic Welcome Light Front, which is actually the whole matrix light sequence at the front, which I'll do an overlay as I'm talking and showing you this right now. So that's all of the main differences. Now in terms of description and what that is, let me get to that section and I'll explain what they mean. So I'll put it up on screen as well, but basically what we are talking about is forward collision avoidance system. So it's got junction crossing, evasive steering assist, and remote smart parking assist. Highway driving assist, it essentially builds on smart cruise control functionalities to support lane positioning and lane change assistance when on the highway. The parking collision one is more about maneuvering, helping mitigate collisions when maneuvering at low speeds. And there may have been a couple of other ones. If there is, I will load them up on screen over here for any that I've missed. So just pause the screen there and you can have a look or a read of that right here to the side of me. All right, let's talk charging. So this, remember, is a 84 kilowatt hour battery. So the old outgoing one was 77 kilowatt hours. Some high level specs. So this car can charge AC 11 kilowatts, which means 3-phase 11 kilowatts AC charging. In terms of DC, so this is an 800 volt architecture car. It says in the spec sheet that it can handle 350 kilowatts and it can do 10 to 80% in 19 minutes, which is absolutely astonishing. Now, I'm not too sure if I'm going to have the opportunity to test this, so hopefully someone can test it in the future. However, let's take their word for it that it can handle 350 kilowatt charging, which means that you can do that 10 to 80% in 19 minutes, which is actually really, really amazing. Now, as the title states, this is the GV70 Signature Performance. Yes, there is only one spec, and it is the performance spec, and it's got all the bells and whistles, which is fantastic. As you can also hear, it's absolutely bucketing here in Sydney today, so I will not have a chance to test how well this car drives in terms of the performance side of things. I don't even want to be trying. You know, it's safety first in all seriousness. But looking at the spec sheet, right, and I'll put it up here next to me and I'll read it off in terms of some of the performance figures. So maximum speed in kilometers per hour, 235 kilometers per hour. 0 to 100 is 4.4 seconds with boost mode, and without it is 5 seconds. So that's in sport or comfort mode. And then 80 to 120 is 2.7 with boost mode and 3 seconds without. And then from 100 kilometers down to 0 at hard braking, it's 42 meters. So take that with what you will. Look, 0 to 100 at 4.4 seconds is not crazy fast in today's world. Okay, 3 seconds is what we're talking about to be crazy fast. But you need to bear in mind that this is supposed to be a luxury car, not a crazy fast car. If it was supposed to be a crazy fast car, you wouldn't have all the luxuries. So it's one of those things where you got to pick. You either want to go fast and the car's got to be lighter, or you're going to go slower and the car's going to be heavier. Now, when I talk about the car being heavier, it means that we've got more luxuries. Air diffuser, you've got massage seats, you've got seats that have memory on both sides, heated pretty much everything, auto dimming things, cameras for your rear mirror. You know, you've got so many things. So you got to pick one. But either way, that's the performance side of things. So let's talk competitors. So realistically, you know, as I said earlier on at the start of the video, it's a 4.7 meter car. There are plenty of competitors in this segment, if we're talking about size. But what is Genesis? Genesis is the luxury arm of Hyundai. That's where I guess all started. And so we need to remember we're only pitching up against luxury vehicles, actual luxury vehicles. So in my personal opinion, some of the few that I'm personally comparing this against is not even the Audi Q6 e-tron, because looking at the spec sheet for the Q6 e-tron, it's not like for like. We're not comparing apples with apples. Me personally, I think if I had to compare with the Q6, we're comparing with the top spec. This car is pitched up against the SQ6 e-tron, which from memory, drive away is borderline $170 something thousand. And remember, this spec in the matte color is about $146,000, so almost $30,000 difference. The other car we're talking about is the Polestar 3. Polestar 3, obviously the top spec, I think off the top of my head, is also about $150,000, which means that this one is obviously priced less than that. And then you've also got two others, the Lexus RZ or RZ and the Mercedes EQE SUV, which is probably almost around the same as this price, if not more than that. So those are the cars that I'm kind of putting in the same bucket in terms of comparison. I haven't driven those other ones, so I cannot give you my personal view on all of them. I'll hope to get them in the future. So as much as I'd love to share which one's better, I don't want to do wrong by you as the viewers to say this car's better than that car. But those are the ones that I would personally benchmark the car against. I definitely wouldn't benchmark it, honestly, against the likes of the Xpeng G6, Sea Lion 7, Volkswagen ID4, ID5, Tesla Model Y. You know, I'm throwing all of those out. Because from a luxury standpoint, I've test driven some of those cars. You can't compare. That's my honest view. From a luxury side of things, this walks all over them. So that's what we need to be clear on. Yes, you could say you could buy a Tesla Model Y, $64,000 drive away. This is $146,000. You could buy two of them, two entry-level rear drives. And then you could still have about $20,000 spare. So, you know, we can't really put them in the same bucket because you're not comparing apples with the apples. So if that's how you want to do the comparison, then, you know, that's perfectly fine. You'll probably end up buying one of the other vehicles as well. But I just want to make sure that I do right by this car and how I'm feeling and how this car has been to drive over the past week. And that's basically the competitors that I would actually pitch them up against. So overall, in terms of pricing, I think this actually sits on the lower end of the pricing against the correct competitors. If you're talking about comparing it on the scale of the 4.7 meter vehicles, then obviously this is on the much higher end of all of those competitors, for better use of words.
So let me know what you think in the comments below. Have I got that right? And are there any other vehicles that I've missed in terms of the competitors? Okay, let's talk infotainment walkthrough. So pushing the home button now, this is basically what you see. So it's a whole integrated screen across, which looks absolutely fantastic. I'm only showing you the left side over here. So touch the screen, that brings you to the map. If I push the home button again, that takes you to here. Now I can use the scroll wheel, or I can move left and right, so you can see over here these are all of the options. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens. This is the first one, this is the second one, then we go to the third one, fourth one, and the fifth one. So let's start all the way back onto the side. First one over here is self-explanatory. It's just a high-level view of the map. I don't think I need to take you through that. Second one over here, let's go through EV. So EV, you can set next departure time over here. So if you tick on that, you can actually set departure 1 and departure 2 at whatever times and dates you want. And you can also set cabin temperature for the next departure time as well. So in your settings, that's everything you can do. And you can do repeat as well, along with climate and demisting as well. So fantastic that you can enable all of that through here. You can also do that through the app too, I believe. So let's head back. Then you've got scheduled charging as well. So again, you can tick that, and off-peak time has not been set. So when we go to settings there, again, you can go off-peak tariffs only, off-peak tariffs prioritize. So you can set all of that here, nice and easy, self-explanatory as well. So let's go back. EV charge transfer. So this is V2L settings. So setting this means setting the minimum battery charge percentage level in which V2L will stop. For instance, if you want V2L, you're running appliances, your car's at 50%. If you set that to 20, it just means it'll continue running that appliance up until 20%. Then utility mode off and on. This basically is just to enable the V2L. And so you can see over here, it uses the high voltage battery to power electronic devices such as infotainment, climate control, and all of that stuff while camping. And it can be activated while in ready status or park. Driving is not possible in utility mode. So that's that. And that covers everything over here. Then it's saying at this point in time, my battery is at 70% over there. And I can do 300 kilometers with the aircon on, or 305 without. There is zero chance that I'll be turning this off. So that's that section. Let's switch to the next section, which is, or the second screen, which is favorite charging stations. You've got nearby, so you can see that there is a couple of other places. If I hit more, it should bring up the maps, I believe, in terms of searching. So here you go, and I can actually just use my scroll wheel to select whichever ones I want, or I could actually scroll here as it's touchscreen. So we'll just hit back. Then you've got your energy consumption. You can actually go into that screen, and it does show you things like battery status, how long it's potentially going to take you. You can go energy consumption, and you can't click on those, but those are just, I guess, figures to tell you. So basically we've been using roughly from the whole 100%, 25% of it is for electronics and 64% is for driving. Then you've got energy consumption history, and this is just basically split per day, and you can see there's a couple of pages over here, so I can actually scroll across to see how much was used each day. So let's get back out of this, and then there's a last page over here which has charging limit, AC charging current, smart recuperation, and battery conditioning mode. So charging limit is self-explanatory, same with AC charging current. Battery conditioning mode, so you can use this if you activate this to go fast charging. This is just the manual version to actually precondition the car. And then this is smart recuperation, which is talking about level 1, 2, 3 for how much the car will decelerate and charge the car. So that's the same thing as the paddle shifters to increase the regen. Okay, let's jump back out of these menus. So map and destination is self-explanatory. That's using the maps for Genesis. So I'll actually show you what the map looks like. It doesn't look too amazing, if I can be honest. Google Maps and Apple Maps looks way better. And destination is just to go into navigation. So there you go, you search previous destinations, nearby PR, you've got EV charging stations and address book. So let's jump out of that. Then you've got Apple CarPlay, which shows you the map over here. So this is basically Apple Maps. So whatever you navigate here, it does show you on the heads-up display. Then you've also got Google Maps, which you can use as well. This doesn't show up on your heads-up display. And then you've got Waze. And Waze, I can confirm, also doesn't show up on the heads-up display when you're navigating as well. So let's just head back. Then the next thing, you've got settings. So there's a whole bunch of settings over here. So let's jump into vehicle first of all. So in vehicle, there's driver assistant, which is driver convenience. Then you've got smart cruise control. So based on driving style, and then you've got close distance, far, slow, fast. You've got all of these settings over here. And then you've also got these ones here. So HDA, which is motor driving assist, for driving on motorways according to the set speed while keeping vehicle centered in lane. You've got lane change, so automatic lane change, and then automatic motor speed change, automatic speed adjustment on motorways based on navigation data. So that's these ones all here. So we'll go back. Then you've got speed limit warnings and assist, or you could turn it off. You've got warning methods. Then you've got driver attention settings. So that's for the lead vehicle. You've got forward attention warning. So it's provided when driver's gaze does not focus on the road. And then there's swaying warning. Then down to driver safety. So there's the timing for forward safety. There's cross traffic safety, forward lane safety, blind spot, all of that. So a whole bunch of safety options. And then parking safety as well. So camera settings, which is here. And then you've got all of these as well. So pause the screen there if you want to read these in more detail. Okay, let's jump back. So that covers all of the vehicle settings from a safety perspective. So let's go into drive mode. I think we've shown you this already. That's to customize my drive mode, which is these three over here. You can also enable virtual gear shift as well, and you can have these two enabled or disabled as you need. Then you've got active sound design, which is essentially two different sounds. So that's pretty much just to mimic, I guess, an ICE car or an electric futuristic sound. Heads up display, which essentially shows you all different details about your heads up display, and then you can also adjust different levels of it as well, and the content that you can select or deselect if you need anything there. Jumping back, we'll go down to cluster. So illumination, you can set the brightness there. You can select different themes, so different colors, and you can select content as well. So whenever one of these applies, for it to show you and not. And then of course you've got welcome sound as well, which has been disabled at the moment. So it's a greeting chime that is provided when the cluster is turned on or off. Alright, then you've got climate controls, so internal air circulation. Then you've got automatic ventilation, so that's auto dehumidify and smart ventilation. Then you've got defogging options. Fragrance, here we go. Intensity is currently on strong, and this is called the driver's awakening. So the driver's awakening, inspired by a fresh scent of grass with morning dew delivering revitalizing natural energy. And there's the great outdoors, refreshing energy. This scent provides a sense of healing comfort, a getaway from life. There you go. And that's how you change the scent. Then you've got climate features. So all of these here, all to do with whatever things you need to do for the car. I will enable the rear climate controls if we need. And then there is warmer ventilation, so based on climate settings, so you can set that to basically auto. So we can turn that on if we really want. And then seat heater balance. So what's this? When the seat heat warmer is on, the function of the backrest or cushion can be turned off, temperature can be adjusted. So you can actually set it more or less for a certain side. That's actually pretty cool. And that's basically it for the climate functions. So let's jump back. After climate, we've got seat settings. So seat switch notifications. So it's just seat information that's displayed every time you touch it. There is smart support, which is the bolsters moving in, so available in sport mode or HDA. Ergo motion is to reduce fatigue, so you can actually turn it on and off for both. Warmer ventilation, I think we've just gone through. And then seat easy access, there's normal distance, extended distance, and so forth, and you can do it for passenger as well. And steering easy access moves the steering wheel. So I usually love this because it just makes getting in and out a lot easier. Then we move down to lights. So ambient light settings. So you've got brightness, you've got different colors. So look at all of that. All of those colors you can set. You can link to drive mode, you can dim it at night and whatnot. And you just change whatever color you want, so you can see a little light glow around the car as you see it over here. So jumping further down, one touch turn indicator, 3 flashes, 5 or 7, intelligent high beams for faster than 40 k's. You also have a welcome light. Welcome light dynamic is that sequence there. Comfort looks like it just turns on. And natural is that sequence. Set daytime lighting. So this has illumination of interior switches and controls under daytime conditions. And this is activation of exterior accent lighting and illumination of interior controls and switches under daytime conditions. So that's all of that. Then we've got tailgate and door settings. So auto lock, auto unlock, tailgate speed, tailgate height, smart tailgate, and remote window control. So remote window control is just deactivating that, so when you push the button you can also get the windows to open and close. And the smart tailgate over here is when the car automatically opens when the key approaches. So that's vehicle. We'll now jump to EV. So I think we've gone through some of these settings before. These are basically charging limits, then battery conditioning to go fast charging, utility mode. Yep, gone through some of these already. I think navigation is self-explanatory. Sound, I just want to show you that. So this is surround sound. Biosonic is Bang & Olufsen's I guess settings. So this allows you to adjust the sound to your preference. So you can go, this one here is max bass and max treble. That's mainly plus treble. Down here is minus treble, plus bass, and so forth. So I have left it on right at the middle, if I can get that. It's actually harder to touch than you think. Right there to see how it's like, and I can confirm that the sound system is pretty good. Positioning, I think, is self-explanatory. You hit that to go to the middle, and then you can start to adjust it to wherever you need. Guidance, just a variation of different things that you can do in terms of navigation, sounds, and voice. And then this one is for map, screen volume buttons, or on the knob as well. So let's head back. Phone connections is just to set up your different Bluetooth devices for your phone or for your car. User profile. This is currently set up as a guest profile, but you can set up new profiles, and that's where you can use the fingerprint, I believe. And then theme layout, I think you've got your white, black, and then automatic between both. You've got exterior color, which is this color of the car as you see on screen. You can do font size, theme selection, screensaver, clock, which is this one over here when it's on or off. You've got a cluster widget, so features that are displayed. So you can enable and disable certain things if you don't want them there, or if you do want them there. Center display is the analog clock. You can turn on off, which is just this one here. So if you turn it off, it's gone. You turn it on, it goes back right there. And then gauges, you can go digital or analog gauges, which I've shown you as a shortcut before on the main screen. So that's theme and layout. Now head over to display, which is just brightness. Then you've got some camera settings, reverse camera settings I showed you earlier on. You've got a blue light filter as well, and these two seem to be disabled. Then you've got the button and touchpad. So these are your custom buttons for the star and whatnot. Then you've got different mode buttons, so it's pretty much just saying you can allocate certain buttons to do certain things for whichever one you want. And then you've got general, which is just date, time, system information and so forth. And that's it for the settings function. Then you've got 3D showroom. So look at that, see inside, EV. So that takes you through to the settings there. Lights directly to your settings. So pretty much it's a 3D showroom that actually takes you to the relevant settings that you want. So it's actually quite good. Okay, now moving on. Voice memo, radio, media, phone. I think those four there are self-explanatory, so I won't go through those. You've then got climate, which actually is just, I guess, the other view. Instead of looking further down at your actual screen, you can see all of this on screen. And then there's something called mood curator, which basically shows, music, lights, and the fragrance. So there's vitality, delight, care and comfort. And care and comfort also looks like it's got massage seats too. So as an example, if I just hit start, I'll turn up the volume. So I'm just going to stop that there. I've recorded this at night, so I might stop the segment here and I'll do the overlay for that. So that's basically this section around mood curator. You've got a couple of things to help you relax. This takes 9 minutes in total. So, if you're not in the mood and you want to freshen up your mood, then maybe this is something you need to do. Let's keep moving on. There is also car wash mode. So look at that. These are all the things that are enabled and disabled, or that happens when you do car wash mode. So you can click start and then all of that applies. Then you've got seat settings. So select the seat mode. Okay, so let's go driver seat as an example. Smart support and ergo motion. And I presume that's the same for this one here. Then you've got quiet mode. So in quiet mode, radio media is played only in the front seats. So obviously good for sleeping children in the back. Connected services. So this is to do with weather, calendar, vehicle diagnostics, and then Genesis connected services. So if we go weather as an example, you can see all of it here. We can also go vehicle diagnostics. So this actually checks the vehicle right now and it'll tell you if there's any problems at all. So look at that, all systems okay. That's pretty cool. So let's go further back. And then you've got valet mode. Oh, it's not supported here, so unfortunately I can't show you, but I do know that it does definitely disable a couple of things. Terrain mode. So terrain mode is currently off, but look, it just shows you location, altitude, and I presume that's degrees of inclination, potentially. That's pretty cool. And then notifications and manual. So that takes us to the end of the menu. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment box below.
connected services. So this is the Genesis app. So let's have a look. So this here is the Genesis app. Now it's not loading properly for me at the moment, but usually you'll see your car over here. You'll see it's not plugged in, it's connected. We can do 298 kilometers. You've got vehicle controls as the next bit over here. Lock, start, climate control, unlock. You can click more, which then brings you additional things over here. So you've got the same buttons at the top. You've got some charging options over here. You've got some windows options, lights, windows, ventilation, open, close, the charging port, conditioning as well for all your control functions. So if I click back to home, you can then go to EV service, and then you've got close charging ports, and then you've got address book, valet. You can start valet mode if you want, which I guess locks down a few things. Vehicle status, if I hit more, it just shows you current status for the car. So 19.5 degrees, 298 k's of range, 70% battery. You can check charging stats or details, currently not plugged in. This is where you do the charging and climate control details, or you can update all of them. You can also save current view of everything around the car. So when you do this, it actually says the side mirror is temporarily open to take pictures. So if you do this while it's locked, I'll hit yes, and you'll see that it's going Face ID. So now what it's doing, it just says over here, it's checking the image around the car. So what it's doing at the moment is that it's actually just viewing all of it around the car, or it's taking snapshots of everything around the car, and then you can go to stored image list to just have a look. So there is no, I guess, sentry mode for better use of words, or remote cameras to look at it, but you can take pictures through this function to see what's around your car. So it takes a moment, and then you go into stored image, and then you can see that there. Otherwise, this status is self-explanatory. This is also self-explanatory, in which it just tells you what part of the AC or heating status is on or off. And then there's other things that you can check here. So basically, as an example, this is saying your frunk is closed, charge port is closed as an example, windows are closed, and so forth. Other than that, you can connect your own calendar there to see what else you have. You can change profile settings, link other personal services. Now this one here, from what I see, is only calendar only. I don't know if there's anything else. And then we've gone through controls. That's everything that you can see there. The one thing that I didn't mention yet so far is with regards to climate settings, you can also set seat settings, which is heating, cooling over here, and different levels. Then you can also go back, and you can also check climate duration as well. So climate duration at the moment is 15 minutes, so you can go from 2 minutes all the way through to 30 minutes. And then down the bottom, you've got map, which is self-explanatory, and then you've got more, which essentially just takes you to additional options for the app. Otherwise, that is everything to do with the Genesis connected services. Okay, some night video recording for you all. So heads up display, hopefully you can see that right there. We're going to look at the settings first, and then I'll actually put my camera up, and hopefully we can record some content for you to all see how good this heads up display is. So in the vehicle settings, you've basically got three things you can choose: enable, which turns it on and off, display adjustment, and content selection. So if I go to display adjustment, I think it's self-explanatory. These are all in terms of adjusting height, rotation of the heads-up display itself. So if you're moving your seat around, you can adjust that to make sure it's at that perfect height. And then in content selection, you can see you can actually select all of these. So by default, this is currently all turned on. So that's turn by turn, driving convenience info, blind spot safety, radio media, call information, and voice recognition. So I'll see if we can show you most, if not all of these as we go. So what you see as standard is right there, which is the speed. You'll see a little U shape, which is just indicating where your car is and the distance for when you use cruise control, and then there's speed limit on the left over here. Now I'm just zooming in a bit further just to show you the speed limit right there, 60 k's an hour, and that essentially changes as you go. So let me reposition the camera and let's go for a drive. Okay, so that should be quite clear right now in terms of the heads up display. So remember, we've kind of enabled everything
so I can show you as much as possible. So first things first, I want to show you Kia navigation and what that looks like. So I'm just setting on the actual navigation right now, different location. So I'm just going to enter something random to show you on screen what that essentially looks like. So just entering address right now. So what you're about to see on the screen is the stock maps on Genesis. And so as we drive, I'll show you what that looks like. And then we'll swap over to Apple Maps and I'll show you what that looks like as well, because I'm using iPhone. Now, quick thing in terms of how it works with phones. If you're using Android, Google Maps will show up there. If you're using Apple, then Apple Maps will show there, but Google Maps will not. And if you're using Waze, I believe it doesn't show at all. So either way, this here for what you see is going to be the stock Genesis maps. So I'm putting the car into drive and let's go. So the main thing that you can see at the moment is that it's got directions at the top, followed by the next set of information on the right hand side. So looking ahead, what this really means is in 500 meters I'm turning left onto Withers Road, and then at 700 meters I'll be going through what looks like a roundabout. So bear with me as we drive through. I might cut the video till we get through the next 700 meters. I'll see how long it takes and see what we do. Okay, so this is the first turn. So if those beeps you're hearing is just the change in speed limit. So you can see it's actually quite good having all the directions at the top. And you'll notice if I go 1 kilometer over, it starts to go, or 2 kilometers, that 60 with black text turns red. And if you go any faster than that, it'll start flashing at you. So I think this map has not been updated as yet, but this used to be a roundabout clearly. So you can see that there's a give way sign there and it shows 1.2 kilometers till the next roundabout. So I might skip forward to that section in a moment. Okay, we're approaching a roundabout. So look at what you see ahead. So you can see that little yellow icon that's just popped up. So that's the roundabout there. And it continues to give you directions on where you need to go. Now let's have a quick look at the media. So I've got the radio on at the moment. Now let me swipe left and right between different stations, which will mimic you changing music. So if I swipe to the right, you can see it's just changing stations as we go. So all of that just shows up, and where you see that little icon, that square with the waves, because it's radio, it's all the same. But if it was music, it shows the album art as well. And you may have noticed that at the moment, it's also just showing me that there's a crossing coming up. All right, and I have just turned on Apple Maps. So this is what you see. Now the other thing I forgot to mention is you can also see the steering assist and lane keeping as well. So you can see it's an actual solid line on the right, it's a bit bold, and then the left line is a bit greyed out. It means that it does recognize that there is a lane on the right hand side. So if I actually go past that lane, the car should actually vibrate and should give me a warning as well. But we're not going to do that, just for safety reasons, of course. And we'll turn left, and I'll see if I can get on the main road to give you a demonstration of what that looks like. And you'll see that it's also recognized the stop sign here as well. Alright, we're about to turn onto the main road, so hopefully I can show you what the heads-up display looks like when we have lanes recognized. So let's get out to the middle lane. So you can see it should actually go bold lines, or it should go bold white in a moment once it's recognized the lanes. But I can also turn on steering assist as well. So on my steering wheel, so you'll see that the lines have just lit up on the heads-up display, so it is now solid white. Now I'm going to push up the steering wheel for steering assist. So you can see there now it also has the green steering wheel, which indicates it will also automatically keep myself within the lane. So if I'm steering a bit to the left or the right, it will actually steer me back. And the next thing we'll do and you'll notice that the road kind of bends to the right in the image as well. So as you're driving along, it will essentially turn and move in the direction in which you're going. So you'll see the lines have gone solid again, bends a bit to the right. I'm going to turn on cruise control just to show you as well. So cruise control is now on. I'll up to the speed limit. So you can see we're now heading up to the speed limit. There's a car on my left, which you saw that little red wave. And now you can see there's a car in front, which is indicated by that square or rectangular block. And that's the distance that we're at with that little line in between the steering wheel and the car. So if I push it a few times, you can see it changes the distance. And because that car's moved into another lane, you'll see that it no longer... and so it was vibrating just then because there was a gap in the road as we were heading across, and it didn't recognize that. So yeah, that's basically what you see. So you can see it's on Apple Maps, as I said. So you've got the directions up there. Then you've got the lane keeping assist. You've got the cars in front based on the recognition of the speed. You've got quite a few details. So yeah, that's a summary. As you can see, it can get quite busy showing you all of those details, but obviously this is just me enabling everything to show you all of it. And I'll just turn on cruise control again. And so yeah, that's basically everything you see on screen. So the only ones that we didn't get to show you was obviously a phone call, which just has the person's name show up on screen. Other than that, that's pretty much everything you can see. So if you have any questions, please make sure you do drop it in the comment box below, and I'll be happy to answer them. Alright, so we are about to go for a drive, and I just want to show you all the drive settings and essentially explain to you how the driving dynamics is and power distribution and whatnot, considering this is an all-wheel drive car. So what you'll see at the moment should be on my phone recording this. You'll see it's currently on level 3, which is down over here. So you can use the paddles over here to increase it to I pedal, and then you can also push this right pedal to change it down. So it's basically 0, 1, 2, 3, and then max I pedal. Now this doesn't have what you saw in my recent video on the Kia EV3 on I pedal 3.0. So it will actually forget this. So if I switch it to reverse, if I've got it in I pedal at the moment, I switch it to reverse, so I switch the car off. By default, it comes back to level 3. So I'll switch it to keep things consistent on I pedal. We will run through the various modes. So down over here you'll see that we are currently, there is sport mode, there is MY for custom settings, eco, comfort and sport. So we're essentially going to look at the 3 over here. I've explained power differences before, but the bit that I want to show you all is this power distribution. So hopefully you can see that on this camera that I've got over here. So right over there. Hopefully we can zoom in on that, and then yeah, let's go and I'll explain everything as we go. All right, so let's actually start with eco settings. So as I said, all we're going to do is go eco, comfort, sport. What I want to test basically is how it feels if I put my foot down, if the steering is any different, and also if there's any pedal lag as I'm driving, because ultimately I want to compare driving dynamics. So let's go. So brakes on, we've got the car in D. Let's make sure we've got auto wipers on as well. My seat's quite comfortable. Let's go. So we'll come to a complete stop, and then let's accelerate. Okay, so that probably shows it much better. Okay, so I've been driving around a little bit, and I think one thing that I've definitely noticed is that in eco mode, it seems like when you're launching off the lights, or you're taking off from the lights, or anywhere where you're stationary in eco mode, it does use the power of all four wheels. And then as soon as you are cruising, as soon as it's gone to, I guess, a decent speed, it basically turns into a rear wheel drive car in terms of that continual power. So I'll indicate out and we'll try it again. So you'll see all four wheels light up for power distribution, and now it's just rear wheels only. And so if I slow down a little bit and then I put my foot on accelerator, you'll see that it really is just powering the rear wheels. And that's it. So let me then also start to see how I feel about the steering. So steering wise is actually feels heavy for something that's in comfort mode, or actually eco mode, sorry. So I haven't noticed too much difference between eco mode and comfort mode. Not much difference in sport mode, very light still as well. But we're here to talk power delivery, so we'll talk about steering in a moment. Actually, the one thing that I didn't test before we switch to that is eco mode, and is there any pedal lag or delay. So we'll make sure the car's on a full stop, plant our foot. Yep, there is a big lag. For probably a good 1 second, there is a big lag. So that's eco mode. So we're now going to switch over through to comfort mode. And I'll stop up here, then we'll leave and we'll test the throttle response and everything as well. Alright, so right now I have just switched over through to comfort mode. So let's go. So four wheels, and then it's dropped off to rear wheels. So again, in terms of going off the line, it definitely was four wheels powering that. And you'll see that in this mode here, this is comfort mode. So eco was the first one, this is comfort. You'll see that when I step on the accelerator, that the power distribution does go to four wheels. So what this means so far is that in eco and comfort mode, power does go to four wheels when you are going from standstill to moving, and when you step on it, you can see that it is definitely four wheel powered. And in eco mode, if I step on it, it still only does rear wheel for the most part, unless you're going off the lights. So we're in comfort mode at the moment, and in a second, let's just make sure we're at a full stop. In a moment, when it's appropriate, let's put our foot down and see if there's lag. Like now, so there is a little bit. So the pedal delay definitely did go down a little bit, so there isn't as much lag for sure. The car obviously took off a lot faster being in this comfort mode. And then in terms of power, whenever you're putting your foot down, it definitely is 4 wheels that light up. And then I think permanently I have not seen for this short drive any time in which it is rear wheel only. So even just to sustain the speeds, it is continuing to be 4 wheels as opposed to in eco mode. But as I said, the pedal lag or delay is still there, but it has significantly gone down. And when you're accelerating out of a roundabout, as an example, it does send most of the power, as you may have seen, through to the rear wheels with half to the front. Alright, let's switch to sport mode. So first things first, out the lights. Oh, that pedal lag is almost all gone. So very, very responsive. I'll have to test that again in the next roundabout. And also, I guess this is a good explanation for what I mean and why I always talk about pedal lag for cars, because you can see that in peak hour traffic it's worse than what you see outside right now. This is just like this is still considered fairly light. In peak hour traffic, the traffic here is twice as much, so that's why I always harp on about pedal delay or pedal lag. And it also, I guess, contributes to that drive feel and the dynamics. I personally love having little lag. All right, as I said, we're in sport mode, so let's go. Yep, very minimal delay. Now I haven't looked at the power distribution as yet, but hopefully you've seen that on camera. So let's just pull over here on the left and we'll leave once there's fewer cars, just so we can check from the get-go what that actually means. Okay, so we are still on iPedal. Yep, we're on sports mode. Okay, let's go. So full power distribution to all wheels. You can see it's pretty even. And when I put my foot down, it's pretty much all 50-50. Doesn't seem to have anything drop off at all. Even low speeds as well. Okay, so let's give it one last try in sports mode. So car's currently at a full stop. All right, let's go. Little lag, not much. And as I said, power distribution is very, very equal and not having to step on it much at all. So what's the summary? So the summary realistically is, you've got 3 drive modes, right? So the drive modes that you have is Eco, Comfort, and Sport. In sports mode, by default, the bolsters on the seats actually hug you in, and you may have seen the dash kind of go all red, which is pretty cool. You've also got boost mode as well, which makes it, or it gives you even more power. In terms of pedal feel and acceleration, this car actually doesn't have as much to configure as some of the other cars we've tested in the past. So actually I didn't notice too much difference in terms of steering feel, and also in terms of pedal feel, in terms of the pressure between like comfort and sport. I felt like you had to kind of put the similar amount of pressure to drive. Where I felt the difference realistically was the pedal lag and the delay. That was significantly cut out as soon as you've gone to sport mode. So in eco and comfort, it was definitely felt through that through the roundabouts as we were going through. You definitely had a lag. You stepped on it, it didn't go anywhere yet, and then the car responded. But in sport mode, that's pretty much negated. It's all pretty much gone. But as I said, the steering feel kind of felt the same through the entire time. I didn't really feel anything that was too different, and that actually also was how I felt as I was driving this car through the week. This was only obviously a test that I was driving here now based on the pedal feel, because that was the most important thing I wanted to test. But overall, through the week as we've been driving it, there wasn't too much I've noticed through the steering, and I just wanted to validate that a bit more as we were doing these tests as well. And then you'll also see over here in terms of drive mode settings, hopefully you can see it on this side camera over here. You can see my drive mode allows you to change steering between comfort and sport. Now, as I said, I didn't feel too much difference in this instance. To me, it was still pretty much all the same. Comfort wasn't loose and sport wasn't too stiff. You know, minor difference is probably the explanation I can give. Suspension, again, you've got comfort and sport. I couldn't tell too much difference, to be honest, for everyday driving, and because it's wet weather, we haven't had the opportunity to take it, I guess, on a more spirited drive. But engine, you've got Eco, Comfort, Sport. As I've explained to you, the main differences there is basically to do with how the motor reacts and the pedal response and the delay and the power delivery in that instance. So those are the settings over there. And the one thing we didn't show you, I guess, as a part of this drive mode, you can also enable VGS, which is virtual gear shift, which is basically, for me, I feel like that's a gimmicky thing. But look, I'll put it on comfort mode and I'll turn this on. And what that means is it creates the feeling of driving an nice car. So if I step on the accelerator, listen to this. Yeah, let's just leave that off. But either way, hopefully that gives you a good indication of the drive power distribution. But as a summary, predominantly all-wheel drive for all of it. In eco mode, it does drop the fronts off a little bit faster, so it's mainly rear. And then between comfort and sport mode, it's pretty much permanently all-wheel drive. So there you have it. All right, we are in a public car park. We are going to see how the Autopark works. So apparently down over here, you just hold down the camera and then it says searching for parking spots. So it says drive closer to the side that you want. So I'm driving very close to the right hand side. So it looks like all of these spots it's recognized. Okay. Stop the vehicle and keep pressing down on the brake pedal to park. Okay, so there, and then it says select park operation mode. That's the one we want. Take hands off steering wheel, press and hold parking view button. So hands off steering wheel, hold this one here. Release brake pedal, so keep holding on. So you do have to keep holding on this button down here. So it's obviously taking over 2 parking spots at this point in time. It's pretty slow, but it seems to be doing a decent job to get in between the lines. Alright, there you go. So hopefully you can see it on the camera. I'll bring up the 360 camera again. So you can see there, that's basically it. So yeah, there you go. So if I hold this down, you do have remote park only. So it says here, leave vehicle, keep the key and close the doors, press and hold forward or backward button on car key. Now, where I am at the moment is obviously extremely packed, so I'm not going to try it here today. If I have time, I will try that at a later date. But at least you get to see how the Autopark is. So summary is, it works. However, it was quite slow. But when it did work, if you look at the lines over here, it was very, very accurate. So 10 out of 10 for accuracy for sure. All right, another test on the Genesis GV70 Signature Performance Autopark, but this time with the remote. So hold down on the camera and you'll see it says searching for parking space. So it says drive forward slowly, keeping closer to the side in which you want to park. So let's go further up. So you can see up ahead, it's actually all empty. So let's keep to the right. And we'll go slower. So you can see that it's a reverse icon for all of these. It doesn't look like there's a straight park in. And you'll see that it's lit up on these sides over here. Okay, so it says here, parking space detected. Stop the vehicle and keep pressing down on the brake pedal to park. So stop the vehicle, keep pressing on the brake pedal. So press on the brake pedal. And it looks like both options allow you to select remote parking or smart parking. So we want remote parking. So to control parking from outside of vehicle, shift to P. So down over here, we'll shift to P. So I've pushed it there. And then it says over here, leave vehicle, keep the key and close the doors. Press and hold forward or backward button on the car key to reverse. So over here we have the key. We'll let it focus. You'll see front and back buttons over there. So let's get out and let's see how good this is. So remember it says leave vehicle and keep the keys and close the doors. So let's try balance all of this also with an umbrella. See how dedicated I am for you all? Alright, so hazard lights are on. Where's the button? Front and back, okay? So let's go back. So I'm holding it down. Alright, well that clearly seemed like a fail, so let's go check out and see what happened. It says press and hold the forward or backwards button on the key. I'm just looking through the window, so let's try back again. Maybe we have to stand very close to it. That might be why. Because I'm actually holding it on now and it seems to be working okay. So there you have it. It definitely was that I was standing a bit too far, so you've got to stand definitely closer to the car. And that's it. So let's see how accurate the parking is. It's not bad. So there you go, testing in the rain. Autopark, it was slow, but it was because I was too far from the car. So you actually got to stand pretty close. So could you park faster than the car? You most likely can, but either way, it's a cool party trick. Alrighty, it's time to talk about things I like and don't like about the Genesis GV70 Signature Performance. It's still a handful of a name, but that's nothing to do with what I like and don't like. So let's start with the first thing that I like. So I love the comfort for this car, and by comfort I mean the feeling of the seats and also the fact that it's got massage seats. So it just makes the car feel so much nicer to drive. When you're comfortable, there's no niggling bits that make it feel uncomfortable, and the fact that the bolsters can adjust, you know, they've totally nailed it with the seats and the comfort for this car. It just feels absolutely amazing. And like, just look at the seats, they are so nice. So nice. The second thing I like about this, believe it or not, it may sound gimmicky, but don't forget, this is a luxury car. I love, and this is the first time I've seen it in the car, I love the fact that you've got that aroma diffuser. Now, apparently there's 2 cassettes or cartridges that you can set for the car, and there's 3 settings for each. I just don't know, or I haven't read the manual to see how you can activate the second cartridge, which is a different scent. But that just honestly tops things off from a luxury side of things. Have you ever walked into a hotel when you're on holiday and it just smells absolutely fantastic? Because that is the feeling I get every single time I enter this car and I start up the car. They've totally nailed it. It's something that I honestly didn't think would make such an impact on me driving the car and just being connected to the car. I think it's amazing. And the third thing that I really love about this car is actually just the overall package and things that they've just done that just seem right and that just make sense. I'll give you an example. 2 things. One is something as simple as sunglasses holder. Slow, comes out, put it away, that's it. The other thing as well is digital mirror. Thank you for not doing the side digital mirrors because they would drive me crazy. But thank you for putting this one in over here because that is amazing. So look at that. You see rain over there? Well, guess what? Not anymore. The camera is clear. You see so much more. It's better at night. It's better almost every single time, day in, day out. See, look at this. I'll turn this on to wipe that. You only see that arch over there versus this. And that you can actually also configure to go up or down as well. So really, really, really loving that. So yeah, it's just the little things that they've done that just make it seem right. Yeah, and also actually on that point, the fact that you've also got this scroll knob over here, I think that just really helps because, you know, they acknowledge that you're sitting further away from the screen. You need to lean forward to do whatever it is you need to do. But then they also put this here just so you can actually touch everything, or you can actually navigate everything without touching and leaning forward over there. So that's basically the 3 things I love about the Genesis GV70 Signature Performance. Alright, let's talk about a couple of things that I don't like about the GV70 Signature Performance. So the first thing actually is storage space. So let me open up the boot again, just so that we bring you back up to speed to what I'm talking about. So you've got your general size boots over here, which is all well and good, and you do usually have a parcel shelf cover that you can kind of hide down over here. However, there is this big foam bit here that I guess does hold everything in place. My gripe is with that there, even if you take that apart and considering that bit there, that's pretty much all the storage you have. You have limited space in the front, and this is basically everything. So I guess a lot of the time, some of the other EVs, in terms of competition, right, and we've got a Tesla Model Y, you think about all of the space that you've got down beneath over here, or down below over here. You've got heaps more storage space. So you've got this here, and then you've just got the front. So for me personally, I feel like I would have liked to see a bit more storage space in the car. Is it doable? Is it livable for an everyday car? Look, obviously it absolutely is. It's bigger than a lot of cars, especially at 4.7. But at the same time, at 4.7 meters, I would have liked to see more storage space in the car. Again, that's just my personal opinion. Open to how you think, and if you feel like that's suitable or not. That's just my personal views, that I feel like it could have been more beneficial to somehow make use of smarter storage space. Perhaps you could just remove that black panel thing that's below, and then you've got heaps more storage space. I don't know. I've got limited time with this car, so that's just my personal views as of right now. So that's storage space. The second thing that I don't like about the GV70 is the second row. Right here. So the second row. What am I talking about? I am talking about the actual space itself. So the seats themselves are beautiful, right? They're really nice. However, I've got this seat pretty much set up to the same as how I am driving. So that's in my driving position right there, as you can see. And then so I've pretty much matched this one to almost the same. And if you have a look at that, I've already shown you before. This is basically what we're dealing with. And I just feel like I'm a little bit cramped. Now, I just want to be clear that
when I say I'm cramped, I'm not saying I'm uncomfortable, just so that we're 100% clear. I am just saying that for a 4.7 meter car, I do feel like I am a little cramped within the space that I'm here. I am definitely comfortable, don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm uncomfortable, but if I had to pick something that I don't like about this car, I would say that inside, whilst it is absolutely luxurious inside, I do feel that it is a little bit more cramped for a vehicle. So that's the second thing. Now, on to the third one, and lucky last. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? The third thing I don't like about the GV70 is at the front of the car. No, it's not the design. It's the charge port. The car is unlocked. It's on at the moment. And look, I showed you earlier on, I can't actually open up the charge port. Why is it that I have to go to the app to do it? Or, let me turn the camera around. Where is it? Right there. Got to push that button. And then you'll see that it opens up over here. And for me personally, because this is a press car, I don't know if you're technically supposed to push that or not. So again, this is for my limited experience, right? So maybe this is not a dislike, if you could manually push that. I'm just scared of breaking that because it's electronic. And this is a $146,000 car. So for me, it's pretty much here. We should be able to have at least, I guess, a button on the remote or something. I just feel like it would have been that little bit more convenient. Or for us to actually to be able to push the physical charge port, and then it opens. That would have been fantastic. But that's basically it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If there's anything you want to know further, drop it in the comment box below. Okay, so I think we've reached a point where we are now at the end of the video. If you have watched the entire thing, a big thank you for watching the video. You are definitely supporting myself, my channel, the growth, and everything else that I've tried to make this channel to be. My videos are always very long because as a car enthusiast, when I was buying cars, when I'm researching cars, I can never find videos that actually do provide the same in-depth comparisons and insights that I'm doing. So I said, you know what? I'll do it myself. So hopefully you're enjoying this. Either way, always open to feedback. Drop any feedback you have down below in the comment section. But the main thing I wanted to say was a big thank you if you have watched this entire thing, and a big thank you for my subscribers, coffee supporters, and YouTube channel members. You all know who you are, and I really appreciate you. So, in summary, what do I think about the car? You know, I originally didn't know what I was going to think about this car. All I knew, because we've driven Genesis in the past, is that it's going to be a very nice car. But having something like the aroma diffuser as an added benefit, and the digital mirror, I think those things have just made driving this, I guess, a lot more enjoyable. And also that galaxy light thing, that pattern thing at night, the whole ambient lighting system, I think they've done really well. So overall, I think it is a fantastic car. Where I think it falls short is obviously back in the dislike section, which is around, I guess, overall space. But as a package, even at $146,000 for this one, yes, it is a lot of money. But remember what I said earlier on, we need to put it in the same comparison for the luxury and mid-sized SUVs. And is this a good buy? Look, for what I've tested, I personally think it is. Would I buy this exact spec? Well, the good thing is there's only one spec, but would I buy the color? Absolutely not. I think I'll stick to gloss colors. I think matte isn't my personal thing. I think I'm more of a fan of gloss colors, and you know, it's also for free as a part of this spec, so I think I'd take that any day. And also, I think brown's not my color. I don't know what I feel. It's just one of the colors that I just wouldn't pick. That's all. So definitely not my color. Either way, what color would you pick? What color? Exterior, interior, what would you choose? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear from you. And yeah, that's about it. I don't think there's too much more to say. Thank you again. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks again, Genesis Australia, for the opportunity. As I said, anything you want to talk about, let's go in the comments, and until then, we'll see you next time for more.